Hi everyone. What are we going to do if it all goes south? Hi, I'm Gina and welcome to Hope and Cope. Here we explore biblical concepts and essential skills to help you live your best life in spite of pain and tragedy. Our topic for today is the third in a series of preparing for the holidays. If you're enjoying this series, I'm really glad, and if you don't mind to hit the like button, go ahead and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss a single video, and share this with someone else that you think it might help. And if you will just stay to the end, that helps my channel to grow. And I've got a final point for you that I think you'll really appreciate, so hang with me for a few more minutes. In the past couple weeks, we've talked about a lot of things we can do to prepare ourselves for the holiday gatherings when we have challenging situations, challenging dynamics, challenging people in our families. For me personally, throughout the years, it was alcoholism. For other families, it can be different things. It can be mental illness, family members with mental illness. It can be just the terribly prickly family member that, seems like we all have at least one, that they just make those gatherings a challenge for everybody. But we're going to try to have a great holiday. The tips that I've shared, I think, will be helpful all the way around in any kind of situation. But today we're going to talk about what if things don't go well? What if our loved one comes impaired or starts a scene or acts out of social norms and creates a fuss? We're going to talk about how to behave, how to manage, how to maneuver that particular situation. I would guess if that difficult person in your life has been around for a while, then you have already established a role that you play with them. Consciously or not, they already know how things are going to go with you. I'm going to compare it to a dance. It's like you guys have danced this dance before. They know your steps, you know their steps, and even if it's not harmonious, you guys are still doing the same dance over and over. So if it's been a toxic and troublesome relationship in the past, just know that it doesn't have to be. With some prayer and just a few simple steps, you might possibly be able to change your part in these tragic or just prickly dynamics. If that certain loved one acts out, do they know exactly how you're going to act? They know that there might be an argument or even worse. All of this just makes them feel justified in their own actions, and nothing we say can change their irrational mindset, and certainly not while they are impaired. Arguing with them is futile. They will see you actually as the troublemaker, not themselves, not their own actions. And then let's be honest, if we lose our cool, if we act out, holler and scream, threaten and stomp around, cry and make a scene, others might very well feel like we are the troublesome family member more than the other person. Because believe it or not, whether we are intending to or not, or whether we realize it or not, sometimes we're just as sick as our alcoholic or impaired or addicted family member. It really doesn't do any good to try to rationalize or argue with our loved ones, because while they're impaired, they can't take their actions into consideration. They don't see the negative impact on everybody else or on the family dynamics. It's all just too distorted in their mind. So we are just arguing basically with a brick wall. This is not the time for that long discussion about, don't you know how you're affecting your family? This is not the time or place. If you've been with me for a while, I hope that you can introduce yourself into these holidays with a new mindset, a mindset that you're going to do something different and get a different result. We've talked about how insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. So when our loved ones acted out in the past, maybe we felt compelled to try to manage or control them. We played our own role over and over, no matter how disastrously, and got the same turnout every time, and still never reflected that maybe we've done something different, maybe we've done something wrong, maybe we could do something different in the future and get a better result. Maybe we felt forced to take a frontline approach to protect others from someone's harmful effects and someone's negative behavior. Perhaps we never even realized that we can do things differently if we choose, and that there's a possibility that that will also get a different outcome. Or maybe it will just have a more positive effect on the other family members that are in the gathering. There's a story I've shared before. It's an Anon analogy about a rope that you can, if that other person is tugging on, you've got a tug of war, two people are holding the rope, you can choose to let your end go. If you let your end go, no matter what that person does with their end, you're not being affected by it. You're not being dragged around. You're not being pulled through the mud. You've just decided to let the rope drop. So therefore, there's not a conflict. You're not the one getting into the conflict with that person. So please think about, if you're in this family environment, if someone is beginning to act out, you don't have to react in a negative way. You can choose to put your attention somewhere else. You can choose to have conversations about other things with other people. Maybe if the weather's nice, you go outside, you go to another room. You don't have to feel like that person, there's that rope or there's that dance, and you've got to get involved and you've got to do your part and you've got to pick up your end, even though you've done this so many times and you know it's a terrible outcome, and you know that you end up in a situation that is lose-lose and it doesn't help anybody, but yet you've done it for so long a certain way, you're just going to continue to do it that way. You can let that rope drop and you can choose a different path. There's another gem with Al-Anon that says you might be right. And so if a family member is at your gathering and let's say an uncomfortable topic comes up, or maybe alcohol or drugs is involved and they're beginning to be irrational, if they say something, you can just say, well, who knows, you might be right, and then change the subject, or just drop it. You don't have to argue. As right as you are and as wrong as someone else may be, there's no reason that you have to argue. Certainly not at family gatherings. You can be kind and respectful. You don't have to say you're so wrong and I'm so right, and you're always wrong and I'm always right, and you never do it right, and you always are a shame in the family. You don't have to do those things. You can just simply say, well, dear, you might be right. Who knows? And just let it be. Try to say something that's just going to bring peace into the family. You don't have to be a doormat, and you don't have to necessarily in any way actually approve of their behavior. You just aren't taking the bait to cause a scene at a family gathering, so that the little ones or the other people that are there can have a nice time and enjoy the family and make memories, and not let this person that possibly, if they just get left alone, might not be a trouble at all, might actually be even unnoticed by others. But sometimes we feel like we have to intervene, and then we make matters worse. My final point that I hope you find really helpful, and I hope you will remember this as the holidays come, is you do not have to allow someone else's behavior to be a reflection on you. Please listen to me. Even if it's your spouse or your child or your mother or your father or your brother or your sister, their behavior does not have to reflect on you. Their behavior will reflect on them, and your behavior will reflect on you. If you act out, if you get snippy or snotty or self-righteous or argumentative or critical or mean, vindictive or sarcastic, all those things will reflect on you. But someone else's ill behavior has no reason to reflect on you. But sometimes we take that on and it feels very uncomfortable, so then we feel like we have to correct their behavior. But you really don't have to correct their behavior. Their ill behavior will reflect on them. Now, I will tell you, there have been times that people have tried to put someone's behavior on me. Like, for instance, why do you let them say that? Why do you let them do that? I would never let them do that. There's no way I'd let them say that to me. Let people say what they want. That is on them, but you do not have to let someone else's poor behavior reflect on you. You behave properly, you behave peacefully, you behave joyfully and appropriately, and that behavior will reflect on you. Thank you for your time. I truly hope you have a wonderful holiday season. If you find my content valuable, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And you know what? I would love for you to leave a comment in the comments section. I'd love to hear your thoughts on my suggestions. And if you have any of your own suggestions, I'm sure anybody that reads your comment, it would be helpful to them. So please take a minute and leave me a comment. If there are other videos you'd like for me to create, other topics you're waiting to hear on, I would love for you to let me know in the comment section. So I always try to add a little extra encouragement for you in my description box. So take a minute to check that out. And I'm always putting out new videos on Sundays. So look for those. And remember that I love you, I'm praying for you, and until next time, God bless.